Kashimo Hajime, a mystery even in Jujutsu Kaisen, a fighter who literally traveled into the future to fight the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer in history. And I believe he could very well be the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer. Now before we get into speculation of how strong he could be, we should both go over what he is for sure before we even go claiming him being the strongest, if it's even a possibility. Now something we need to go over first would be with his first fight with Hakari. Something we need to go over is that this fight wasn't close, at least in terms of raw stats. For one, Hakari without his domain amp was actually killed by Kashimo at least 3 times with just singular blows. And with his domain amp, the outcome wasn't really different, as even without utilizing his cursed lightning, he was shown to put significant if not deathly damage on him casually, while he was in the process of subconsciously healing, meaning he was getting more damage than his healing factor could keep up with at times. This also shows if Hakari didn't have the bonus of his constant regeneration, he would have most likely died to Kashimo even without the use of his cursed lightning. And speaking of his lightning, it's no debate whether if it's stronger or not when he's utilizing it, as he can one-shot Hakari even while his regeneration is active. And this puts Kashimo with his cursed lightning easily above Hakari. And just so you get an idea where this puts him alone within the inverse, Hakari, Yuta, and even Maki are all considered equal in some sense. It's even reiterated by them by the confirmation of Gojo himself. But Hakari in his jackpot state stayed to be stronger than even Yuta himself, as Yuta even stated it. Even again with inside the Jujutsu Kaisen popularity pool, this is reiterated upon. Meaning with no cursed technique and just pure hands, he'd be able to mortally wound if not kill Jujutsu High's strongest with just mere punches, and can easily one-shot them all with his cursed lightning. This can be shown as consistent, as Kashimo as a dying old man thought it was so irrelevant to fight Ryu that it was a waste of time to even do it due to how weak he was. Ryu is the same guy that fought Yuta on relative terms, if not surpassed him in some aspects. And that was him as a dying old man. Just look at him now in his theoretical prime without any cursed techniques. Now, I've been harping on the fact that he doesn't have or hasn't been using his curse technique for a hot minute. And if you didn't know, for one to not use their curse technique in Jujutsu Kaisen is explained by Gojo, that a Jujutsu sorcerer's curse technique is about 80% of their strength, and the rest is their own ability to fight. Meaning just the difference between Kashimo or just about any Jujutsu sorcerer from when they are and aren't utilizing their curse technique is a 5 times difference. So a full power Kashimo would be at least 5 times stronger than he was without or showing with Hakari. This is probably a good time to add the fact that Kashimo without his curse technique would have probably beaten 15 Finger Sukuna, as that Sukuna was completely fighting equal to Maki, if not Maki edging him out in some aspects. As we've already established, with just pure hands he would bring down Hakari and with his lightning completely blow a hole through him. And with Hakari just blatantly scaling above the rest by some unknown variable, he would essentially be able to blow through that version of Sukuna, if not mortally damage him with pure hands. Now seeing this makes sense why Kashimo was essentially sunning Yuta during the fight with Gojo and Sukuna. Now everything after this recording is almost purely speculation, as we don't have enough information, and if you're caught up to date on chapter 237 of Jujutsu Kaisen, Kashimo just unleashed his curse technique. Now everything I presented up till now would put Kashimo at his 3rd strongest behind Gojo and Sukuna. But as I said, we're going to be taking things about his new curse technique and we're fully going into speculation. So first off, him entering his curse technique was enough to push Sukuna into fully manifesting his original body, which should be stronger than his Megumi body, as not only is he also added with the fact that he has a cursed tool now, but it was also stated that he was holding something back during his fight with Gojo, and it was confirmed by Gojo that he was holding back as well. So this new body along with this cursed tool would be stronger than the Megumi body from which Gojo fought, which in itself is a feat. But more importantly, it comes with the statement by the narrator that says, in this state he surpasses the limits of humanity, or mankind. Now, Gojo is a human, as this statement was made by the narrator, so this statement can very well apply to him. And this can be consistent as he was watching the whole fight between Gojo and Sukuna. Unlike everyone else who was essentially shitting their pants, he was calm and collected and more confident in fighting that Sukuna. As much as I love to see Kashimo box up Sukuna, but narratively it's not gonna happen. He's gonna end up losing or not become stronger. Although I could see something like 8 Gates Guy versus Madara happening, but depending on what happens in the upcoming fight, Kashimo might end up being stronger than Gojo. If you want an analogy, think of Gojo and Kashimo as Goku and Vegeta. Both of them are bickering and fighting on who's the strongest, while you have Sukuna or Broly sitting in the background knowing he is the strongest.